from a very young age, society would dictate how a woman is supposed to define herself. Boys grow up wearing blue. Girls grow up wearing pink. A boy is supposed to be strong, to grow up to be strong like his father, where a woman is supposed to be delicate, a delicate flower. Boys play baseball, girls do ballet. But these things don't seem that relevant, but our media and the society dictates that as women get older, they're supposed to be skinny. They're supposed to be beautiful. And so women pound their faces with makeup. Women develop conditions like anorexia, low self-esteem, and even a generation of women who don't learn to defend themselves because they're supposed to be delicate women. And so
when an individual is raised in a culture, specifically a culture that's predominantly religious, their internal morals will reflect the morals of that religion. For example, in Pakistan, where 98% of the population identifies as Muslim, 98% of the population is likely going to reflect views of the Quran. For example, in the Quran it states that both men and women should be modest. And yet, only women are required to wear a burqa that covers their entire bodies. In Africa, and this is a bit of a darker example, but it's still important, female genital mutilation is a really pertinent issue, which basically is intended so that women can never enjoy sex, which is again a part of the gender role because they're supposed to be virginal and modest. Additionally, in Myanmar, there is a tribe called Padang, and what they do to their women starting at the age of 5 is putting copper or gold rings around their necks. And traditionally, this tribe was a matriarchal society, and these rings were put around their necks to protect them from attacks by tigers or other wild animals that could potentially harm their bloodline. But the fact that it still continues and that the rings will be added until their necks are stretched to 40 centimeters is a violation of their rights that they cannot escape and an inherent mutilation.
I only wear this clothing because my father told me to wear it, and because his father told him to wear it, because men are supposed to dress formally and with a nice button-up shirt and nice slacks and fancy shoes for a presentation. However, I would like to make myself a lot more comfortable and connect with the audience a lot more. So I'm going to wear something a lot more comfortable. Thank you.
Ladies, feel free.
These sectors are a direct correlation to the pay grade. And if you look at this top half, entirely dominated by women, and you look at this second half, entirely dominated by men, and you look at the pay grades, women are receiving, on average, almost half the pay grade as men for jobs that are a lot more prestigious. In the two sectors, women do certain jobs and men do certain jobs. Men are grown by society to aspire to do great things. Young boys grow up and they say, I want to be an astronaut and I want to be a doctor. Whereas young girls grow up and they say, I want to be a fashion designer, I want to be the next top model. And in schools, from an American point of view, you always have that computer guy, that one boy who's very tech savvy. And then you have that one girl who is very clothing oriented. She wants to be the next designer, the next top model, like I said. But you have that boy who aspires to be much more than the woman. And when that boy fails at being the next Steve Jobs, he designs the next Facebook or the next WhatsApp. And that woman, that young girl who wanted to be the next top model or the next clothing designer, Major Louis Vuitton, if she fails, she goes to working behind a textile machine for a company like Gap. And so we're seeing this, and we're seeing a generation of young women who are aspiring to be a lot less than young men. But let's take that statement back, and let's say women are aspiring, because young women are aspiring to be a lot more than in previous years. At this moment in the US, you have some of the highest enrollment rates and graduation rates from the top universities from women. Women are graduating a lot more than young men at this moment. But why is it that in the market, in businesses, they're still entirely run by men? Why is it that women are having a difficulty becoming the head of corporations? Because of the next type of segregation, which is vertical segregation. Vertical segregation is the inability for one to climb the ladder of success within a company. And so you have women who are graduating from top universities, getting top degrees, who go to these companies, and even though they might be more efficient and more prepared than their male counterparts, are still held in lower positions. This is also known as a phenomenon called the glass ceiling, where women are aspiring to be the CEO of a company, however, for some intangible reason, they cannot. And this glass ceiling is discouraging women because they work very hard and they put a lot of effort into it, but they can't get higher. And so the solution to this is to encourage children, is to encourage young women to aspire for greatness to the point where we can have young women flooding markets, flooding business places, to the point where this glass ceiling, regardless of how thick it is, will not be able to hold women back anymore.
A solution for women and people in general in desperate poverty that has actually been pretty successful. It's a concept known as microcredits, which was invented by a man named Muhammad Yunus, for which he later won a Nobel Prize. And basically, really, banks are set up, and in some cases, banks specifically for women, that give out very small loans of like $100 or less. And this allows women to start their own businesses, even from inside their home, which is really useful because this way they can, make clothes or make toys, anything that they can use to support themselves and their families without having to turn to prostitution. And also the fact that they can work from home and they can make things like clothes allows them to work and be able to support themselves without having to step outside of their religious role, their gender role, or the beliefs that are set upon them culturally. And this has been especially successful in Latin America, where 30 to 40% of the population is in severe poverty. And women who are able to go to banks like this and get small loans and start their own businesses have experienced a lot of success, and it's been a really useful solution for them.
So can I have you guys run in place as the opposite sex? Perfect. Can I have you guys...
I'm kind of angry at you.
That's the perfect reaction. Can I have you guys say a couple words as the opposite sex? You
What?
to speak as a woman and you as a man.
Oh yeah, sure, why not? Equality, how long did they fight for equality? Now they have to go first all the time. I have to open the door for them. Sure, go ahead.
Oh, I can't do this. Could you please help?
You have a heart attack. I already said what I had to say. Equality, really? This is equality?
Okay, and can you guys do a little dance at the opposite sex for us?
We're gonna play some music for you guys.
Oh, good.
You ready? I would like to hire you to be the management of my new nightclub. Would you be interested?
Yeah.
Perfect. Wait, would you be willing to move to Mexico City though?
Not really.
Oh, but the payment's gonna be great.
Well, I'm happy to.
Oh. But you tell me, how much do you want to earn?
Mexico City?
Yeah. Perfect. Let's close the deal. Okay, who's gonna take care of your children, sir? Oh, okay, perfect, no problem. Hey, another thing. You would be start work at around 9 p.m. and you would finish around 2 a.m. Is that okay?
19.
Perfect. That's great. Who's gonna be providing the money for the house? Oh, good man. Good job. Thank you very much, sir. You're hired.
Okay, Jessica, your husband just got hired in Mexico City for $500,000.
Seriously?
I'm offering you another job in Mexico City. Will you take it? At a nightclub. Same nightclub. Will you take it?
No.
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 How much do you want to get paid? Not enough.
Or, I mean, you don't have enough.
No, please, tell me the amount.
What would I be doing?
You would be the manager of the nightclub.
No.
No.
Why don't you want to go?
It's not appealing.
How come?
I don't like nightclubs.
Oh, why?
I have a son.
Oh, you need to take care of
I
your
need to take
son.
care of my son.
Can't your husband take care of your son, though?
No, he's taking your job.
Ah. So now let's say Carlos didn't get the job, and I'm offering you a job.
Where? The same job? No.
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 How are you going to support your family?
I'll think about it.
In a realistic sense, how will you support your family?
Oh my God.
If Carlos
I start
doesn't
my
have
own
it.
company.
You start your own company. How?
Internet.
Internet. Okay. Okay, and what about your son?
What about it?
How do you take care of your son?
I'll be working from home.
Ah, okay.
So this just proves what we have been saying, that guys are more prone to take jobs that might not be appealing to women. For example, Jessica is not willing to work in a nightclub full with prostitutes, with alcohol, to work in Mexico City, where she will be completely in danger every night she works.
And your son?
And her son, who's going to take care of the son. But in the other hand, Carlos is willing to take that job because he knows that Jessica will be taking care of the children and that the man is the one supposed to be a provider. So if the man is offered a huge offer, a huge wage, then the man is more prompt to take it because of this stereotype that he's the one who needs to provide the money to feed everybody in the family. I think it's very hard to decide because it's not a matter of, for example, me as a woman, I have been raised by my mother who spent a lot of time and care and effort in raising me the way that I am right now. But if I decide to do the same thing with my children, I will not be able to have a full career as I am expecting to. So in a sense, yes, I support women who are going to study, who are going to reach a high level of studies. But on the other hand, for us as women, it was very, very hard to decide what to do when it comes to taking care of children. So I don't think we will ever be able to do enough because in a sense we're limiting ourselves morally. And that's okay. I mean, it's part of being a woman. Well, I think that's very hard because it's not just a matter of changing yourself, but a matter of changing stereotypes that are closely attached to a society, which is almost impossible to do unless every person in the society decides to. But just as an example, one of my teachers took all the Disney movies away from his kids because he believed that princess and all that stuff would be harmful for their identity. Or for example, with the way we use language, that's very hard to change because it's not like you're not going to use gender anymore while you speak Spanish, you know? But still, like, having your children be educated to know that you cannot get rid of them, but for them to be able to face it, to solve it, and to know, yes, I am a woman, I'm proud of it. And being like a woman doesn't mean that I'm weaker, it just means that I'm just the way I am, right?
So I think within changing educational systems, it's very difficult as well because you go into things that are much more complicated than just education. But religion is very much attached to many societies. Like I said, my example of 73% of Americans identifying as Christian and being influenced by the gender roles that are imposed. How do you go about changing these ideas without attacking one's religion? Because the moment you attack someone, they automatically get defensive, and it's much harder to get your point across. And so, for example, at our school, the school that Jimena and I go to, we have a lot of sessions where we come together and we discuss it. We discuss it in a very unaggressive manner. You say you can believe whatever you want to believe. You believe your own religion, you have your own faith, but we're just exposing what there is. These are things that affect people in reality, and you have the choice to abide by them, or you have the choice to choose your own path.
A lot of people don't have access to internet. If you're interested in speaking about that, come to Digital Divide Conference next week. But yeah, it's very hard to reach every single part of the population. Imagine for communities that don't even have access to internet, to phones, to any kind of media, and they're based on religion, traditions, on selling women, things that have happened for years and years. How are you going to reach them? You know, it's very hard. And how are you going to reach them, more importantly, without harming their culture, without harming their identity that has been preserved throughout the years? How are you going to tell a woman from India that when her husband dies, she should not dress in black for the rest of her life? How are you going to tell an old woman in Africa who supports genital mutilation because she has been told that that's honorable in women, that that's completely wrong? You know, how can you change traditions without actually harming? Where's the limit between the right thing, where you should intervene to save human rights, and when you should step back because that's part of their identity as a ethnic group of people?